And welcome back to episode 7 of the Roll the Tape podcast. I'm your host, Jackson White, alongside
Aiden McNally
and Jalen McKissick.
So today we're going to be talking about what is wrong with the Buffalo Bills. The Denver Broncos have won 3 straight games. Who's winning the NFC East? Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings. They're rolling. Who's coming out of the AFC North? And are the Jacksonville Jaguars fakers?
And for the NBA, we obviously have that in-season tourney update. For the regular season, we have an NBA Week 3 recap up to this point. What should the NBA do about Draymond Green's chokehold on Rudy Gobert? We'll talk about that a little bit. Are the Timberwolves the hottest team in the league? They're 8-2. They're rolling right now. Are Haliburton and Anthony Edwards dark horses for the MVP? Should the Bulls blow it all up and rebuild? I don't know. We'll get to it. And are the Houston Rockets legit?
And for our ending segment, we have our games of the week. We have Bengals at Ravens, Eagles at Chiefs, Jets at Bills, and Steelers at Browns. And then we have our starts and six for the week for your fantasy lineups.
And finally, I think it's time to roll the tape. Let's get right into Week 10 of the NFL season. We'll go Thursday night football, Bears versus Panthers, and I can tell you everyone was excited for this one. Said nobody. It was a close game, though, 16-13. Bears come out with a victory, and they're now 3-7. Panthers fall to 1-8.
The Bears.
Bear down.
Bear down, I guess. Look, going to Sunday, 9:30 in the morning. And where was this game at? Where's this game? Germany. Colts versus Patriots. If you woke up, I feel bad for you. This was a stinker. 10-6. Colts win. They're now 500, 5-5. Patriots 2-8. Belichick gone? Question mark.
And we give a very sorry apology for any little German boys and girls out there saving up money to watch the NFL, and you have to see those two teams go to battle.
That would Bailey Zappi fake snap to the defense.
Triple coverage.
That was wild. Going to 1 o'clock games. Browns versus the Ravens. This was a very good game. Deshaun Watson's last game this season, as he's now been rolled out for the season. We'll talk about that in a minute. Browns get the victory, 33-31. Browns now 6-3. Ravens fall to 7-3. Moving along, Packers versus Steelers. This was also a pretty solid game. Steelers do pick up the victory, 23-19. The Steelers somehow are 6-3. Packers fall to 3-6. Another Sunday game. Niners taking on the Jaguars. One of our game of the weeks. We even picked the Jaguars to win this. Some of us did, but wasn't even close. 49ers win big, 34-3. Moving along, Vikings versus Saints. Derek Carr goes down early. Jameis Winston comes in and has a classic Jameis game. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Vikings win. They're now 6-4. Winners of 5 straight. Saints fall to 5-5 as well. Texans versus Bengals, another game of the week here. Texans pull out the big victory, 30-27. C.J. Stroud proving he is still an elite quarterback and still most likely rookie of the year. Just giving them an award and possibly an MVP candidate. We'll get to that in a minute. Texans now 5-4. Bengals fall to 5-4 as well. Buccaneers taking on the Titans. This one was not close, 20-6. Buccaneers victory. They're now 4-5. Titans fall to 3-6. Will Levis has yet to throw a touchdown since his 4-touchdown performance in his first career game. Buccaneers win. Lions taking on the Chargers. Probably the best game of the week. 41-38. Lions victory. They're now 7-2. Chargers fall to 4-5. Jared Goff, 333 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. A big running attack by the Lions. They win in that one. Kyler Murray is back for the Cardinals as they were taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Cardinals get their second victory of the year, 25-23. And Kyler Murray didn't throw a touchdown but ran one, and he also threw an interception. Cardinals get the victory over the Falcons. Moving along, Cowboys versus the Giants. The Giants do score 10 in the fourth quarter, but they get blown out 49-17. Oh my, the Giants are bad, but the Cowboys are even better. Dak Prescott had himself a day, 400 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He also ran one in, 5 total touchdowns for Prescott. Cowboys are rolling 6-3. The Giants, worst team in football, 2-8. Moving along, Seahawks versus the Commanders. Seahawks get the victory here, 29-26. Seahawks now 6-3. Commanders 4-6. Sam Howell still played very well, 312 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But Geno Smith gets the last laugh and did not write back in this one. Seahawks win 29-26. Sunday Night Football, Raiders taking on the Jets. And the Raiders still are undefeated with a new head coach. They win this one 16-12. Josh Jacobs has himself a day with 116 yards rushing. Raiders now 5-5. Jets fall to 4-5 in the Zach Wilson era. Monday Night Football, the Broncos taking on the Bills. The Broncos get a game-winning field goal, 12th man on the field. They go to a game winner. They miss. 12 men on the field. Broncos come out, kick another one. It's good. They win 24-22. Broncos have won 3 straight. They're now 4-5, and the Bills fall to 5-5. And that's going to lead us right into the first segment of the day. What is going on with the Buffalo Bills? I'll now welcome Jalen and Aiden back into it. Let's talk about them Bills.
So the Bills just fired the offense coordinator, and I don't know if it was the offensive coordinator's fault or if it's Josh Allen's fault. I mean, the offense coordinator isn't out there throwing those picks. I mean, he's just out there calling the plays. Now, they're not the greatest of plays, but when you have a quarterback of Josh Allen's caliber, him throwing these interceptions, most of them aren't even, good passes. These are bad passes that he just throws down the field.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Bad reads as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Josh Allen on the season, 19 touchdowns passing. He's ran it in 7 times. I mean, that's 26 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions. And since 2018, he's entered the league. He's thrown 10 or more, the only QB in the league to do that. He's throwing interceptions at a big rate. And it's just, I mean, for the Bills, they're 5-5, and then their schedule doesn't easy up. I mean, next week they take on they have a bye. No, they don't. Never mind. My bad. That was my bad. They play the New York Jets next week, and hopefully that's a win to get them back on track. But then they take on the reigning NFC champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a bye, and then guess who they take on? The Kansas City Chiefs. And then after the Kansas City Chiefs, guess who they play? The Dallas Cowboys. In just 3 straight games, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, 3 contenders in this whole thing.
So they could really be 5-8.
And then they play the Chargers, a very scary team. Then, obviously, New England, they're terrible. I would say the second worst team in the league besides the Giants.
Even the Dolphins game
and then,
isn't a hand me.
They end the season with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are very, very
so they could easily be, what, 6-10?
6-11,
7-10.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I do think they figure it out. But, man, their schedule does not get easier. And if they continue to play like this,
And
the Bills are supposed to be the best team in the AFC. They were supposed to be. They have one of the best rosters, one of the best defenses, and they should have, as some analysts said, was the best player in the NFL coming into this season, the Madden cover, Josh Allen. And he's not. It's not like he's playing bad. 2,600 yards passing, but just the interceptions. He has to slow them down.
And it's not crazy to think that Josh Allen was going to be the best QB entering this season. Obviously, you have your Patrick Mahomes, but Josh Allen is a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", 230, 40 pounds, can take off. He'll get you rushing touchdowns, which he has. But these throws are bad. These reads are terrible. These play calls are bad, which is why they fired their offensive coordinator. But a thing I just thought about looking at the schedule since they lost to the Bengals a couple weeks ago, the whole thing was Patrick Mahomes won. For best quarterbacks in the league list, there was Patrick Mahomes is the clear obvious one. There's no debating that. And then it was 2A, 2B, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. At this point in the season, midway through Week 10, who is better in your opinion, Joe Burrow or Josh Allen?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. And I would say that C.J. Stroud is playing better than both.
Josh, yeah, me too.
If you're looking at me, I mean, if you look solely off this season, who the best quarterback in the league is, it's probably. I mean, the past few weeks, I'd say C.J. Stroud has been playing the best as the best quarterback.
He really has.
Patrick Mahomes is having an average year. Well, to his standards, he's still playing.
To his standards, yeah, and that's
it's still a great,
He's still
having
like,
a great
7-2,
a great season. But to Patrick Mahomes standards, this is just like an average season.
I mean, if you really do look at it, you look at like just straight up statistics, okay, and who's the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, it's really just goes between hand in hand with Mahomes. Mahomes is up there playing well. Jared Goff's statistics are looking really well. I mean, your passing leader right now in the NFL is Sam Howell, which is something just insane. No one thought was saying. Sam Howell statistically is a top 5 quarterback in the league, statistically, by the way, just it's only statistics. But Sam Howell is actually not that bad.
He's not. And if you were to sit down and watch a Commanders game, I feel like you'd be pleasantly surprised
I
because
mean,
he
he
fits
threw
some.
3 touchdowns and 300 yards last week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, he fits some throws in some tight spaces. I mean, he can dot up a defense, but
But on the
he's not like an elite quarterback yet, statistically, obviously.
yeah, but who's the top of the mountain at quarterbacks right now?
I just say it was probably
Because
just
Mahomes is
Dude.
not playing that well.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It might be Stroud. I'm being so serious. It might be Stroud.
Well,
think
Stroud's touchdown interception ratio is insane.
Yeah.
15-2.
2.
15-2.
With a 470-yard game, the only rookie to ever do that.
And he's second in passing yards in the league. CJ Stroud is.
It might be Stroud. It might be C.J. Stroud. He might be playing the best.
I mean,
If we're talking solely the only quarterback position, he might be playing the best football from a quarterback.
I think he's the leader in the
out of
MVP
all 32
conversation.
teams.
You think Stroud is the MVP right now?
I think he is.
If the season ended today,
If the season
CJ
ended today,
Okay, for Stroud to win an MVP. For CJ Stroud to win an MVP right now, let's just talk about that for a second.
for a rookie to win
The
an MVP,
Texans would have to make
the playoffs, which they're already they're the 7th seed right now.
They are.
they're 5-4.
Yeah, they're 7th seed right now.
It's doable.
I think if for Stroud to win MVP, which I don't think will happen, he's Rookie of the Year's locked. I do
Yeah.
think he'll win Rookie of the Year. I would say the Texans can only lose one more game. They have to finish 12-5 or better, or 13-4.
Okay, well, if they finish 12-5, then that means C.J. Stroud will have to be playing out of his mind anyway.
Yeah, and then he'll win MVP. But a rookie as an MVP is insane.
So you think?
Okay, but
you think if they win 10 games and get to the playoffs, there's no chance he wins MVP?
I think he has to win at least 12 games.
This is a team that won 3 games last year, and he has a supporting cast of Dalton Schultz and Nico Collins and a good blindside line.
Tank Dell is very good.
Tank Dell is
let's
very
act
good.
like
Okay,
Tank
yeah,
Dell's
no,
not that
no,
good.
I forgot about Dell. Yeah, Tank Dell's in there, and a good blindside blocker in Laramie Tunsil.
Their offensive line's
Outside
not
of
there.
that,
The running game is not there.
it's
Running
terrible.
back's not there.
It's terrible. This is a guy who is leading a 3-win team from last year. Even if he gets 8 wins this year, that'll be super impressive.
I mean,
Yeah, but-
MVP stands for most valuable
I'm talking
player.
about MVP.
It stands for most
I'm not
valuable
talking
player.
about. I mean,
I think if he wins 9 games and he takes down if he wins a playoff game this year,
well, MVP doesn't matter what you do in the playoffs. It's
guess
it's a
that's
regular
true.
season award.
but if you see C.J. Stroud win a playoff game, that'll modify it a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, I know they do it right before the Super Bowl, but
I don't know. I think it might be Stroud.
I think Stroud's the leader.
If the season ended today, maybe not.
it probably hurts for me. My MVP leader right now is probably Hurts.
Yeah.
because the Eagles have been very good this year.
I would say
Um,
Hurts and Lamar Jackson are the 2 right now, and then maybe
I don't
3
know
is
because
Stroud.
Lamar Jackson just lost to the Browns, and it wasn't all his fault.
But he
But
didn't
that
play
pick
that
six
well.
at the end,
That was bad.
and then also he lost the fumble too.
Yeah.
He's lost a fumble almost every game. I had that man in
Yeah.
fantasy. I look at it. There's like he loses a fumble almost every game.
He does. He does.
Every time I check, it's like, oh, Lamar Jackson lost a fumble.
He does. But moving along to another quarterback and another team that has been playing really well lately, and that's going to be the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos beating the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football last week, a game-winning field goal. Obviously, 12 men on the field prior, and the Broncos missed it, and then they got it back. They got to kick another one. They win it. But Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, he's cooking right now. Let Russ cook. He is indeed cooking. I mean, if we're looking at it right now, the Broncos, they're back. The Denver Broncos are on a 3-game winning streak. They're 4-5, and they look good. The Denver Broncos they look pretty solid. Russell Wilson on the season, 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and I mean they look solid.
Yeah, 3-game winning streak, and it's not like they
Chiefs and Bills in those 2 games.
Yeah,
by the way.
I was about to say it's not like these were easy wins. I mean, the Packers 19-17, you could argue that was a hard win, but that was a Packers team that was coming off a bye at the time. Has 2 weeks to prepare for your matchup. You do have it at home, but still impressive win over a team that got swept by the Jets and Chiefs prior. And then you beat the Chiefs, not even beat the Chiefs, absolutely dismantled the Chiefs 24-9. That game wasn't even close at any point in that game.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Broncos-Bills game. Now, do they win if they don't get the flag? Probably not. Actually, no, they wouldn't have because the kicker missed the kick. But That's part of it. They didn't have any timeouts. They rushed the offense off the field.
It was a good idea.
They
I like
rushed,
what they did.
Yeah, they rushed.
Smooth.
They rushed
Of
the
course-
offense.
Of course, the kicker misses a 30-yarder to win it, which is nuts. I think it was like a 41.
I think it was 41.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they rushed the offense off the field. They bring out the kicking team with time clicking down the clock. Time ticking down the clock. It throws off the defense. That's what their job was.
I wonder who
and
the
it
12th
happened.
man
They
was.
got the flag, and Will Lutz made the kick, and they won.
I heard it. I mean, I don't know. I wonder who the 12th man was for the Bills.
That's hilarious that you don't know when you're supposed to come off the field. Like
I heard it was DeMar Hamlin, but
Imagine. Oh my
it
god.
actually, I think it was.
Like you have your pregame meetings, you have your practices all week of who's on
He's
the
like,
of who's
man,
on
I gotta be out here. I'm not going out.
of who's on each
This
special
is my
team.
moment. This is my Kodak moment. DeMar Hamlin was thinking that in his head.
And
block this kick.
I'm not blocking this kick.
like just to lose like that is
I'm
just
him.
deflating.
I know. Imagine like a Bill. If you're a Bills fan, you're a fan of a 5-4 team that is probably supposed to be 7-2 at this point, and you lose to not only lose to the Denver Broncos, you lose to
like
a
that.
12-man off the field when a
At
kicker missed the
home.
kick at home on prime time. Oh my gosh, I
It's
could not.
insane.
I couldn't even imagine
It's
being
crazy.
a Bills fan.
They gotta drive back home in 20-degree weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got to see the DeMar Hamlin an ambulance driving by whenever they leave.
Hey, comeback player of the year. I'm just joking. Yeah.
There's no way he should get that.
He's winning it. He's gonna win.
He's
it.
going
got
to win
to.
it.
He
Yeah, but there's no
has
way. He's if it wasn't for everything that happened last year, he wouldn't be on an NFL team.
But anyway,
I'll say that right now.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the Broncos. Back to the Broncos. They play the Vikings next week. The Vikings are red hot. Fun fact, the Vikings are actually 5-0 without Justin Jefferson.
Jefferson will play in this one, though.
He will play, so we'll see how that impacts, obviously, Josh Dobbs coming back.
This is actually, honestly, one of the
Better
biggest
matchups.
games.
I agree, too.
of the
Both
week.
teams have something to prove.
Both teams are hot.
Yep. And I don't know. We'll see if this Justin Jefferson curse is a real thing. If it is, then good for the Broncos.
but let's
It's a
say-
primetime game, too, so the whole
Let's say the
whole
Denver
world will be watching.
Broncos beat the Minnesota Vikings. They're 5-5. Are the Broncos? Do you think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs?
No, I don't think so.
They play the Browns after the Vikings, and then they play Houston, which is a very good team. Well, a solid team with C.J. Stroud. They play the Chargers. Then they play Detroit, which I would say is the top 3 team in the league. And then New England, who they're terrible. Then the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are week 18, and then the Chargers week 17. The playoffs isn't not a possibility for the Broncos, but I definitely think this team still has some. Their defense is still not that good. It's played better, but their defense still
Not to mention, there are
isn't
like
that good at all.
Not to mention, there are like 7 AFC teams in the hunt.
There's more than 7.
Even the Colts are in it 5-5.
Yeah.
5-5. If you're 5-5, 4-5,
Yeah.
5-4, you're in the hunt.
Yeah.
That's like half of the teams in the NFL.
Who actually is the 7th seed in the AFC? Is it the
It's the
Texans?
Texans.
So
The
looking at it
5-4,
right
okay.
now, if we go look at the AFC playoff race right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are 1 at 7-2, coming off their bye. The 2 is the Baltimore Ravens at 7-3. The 3 is the Jacksonville Jaguars 6-3, and then the 4 right now is the Miami Dolphins at 6-3. The 5 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 6 is the Cleveland Browns at 6-3, and then the 7 is indeed the Houston Texans at 5-4.
AFC North on top.
On the bubble right now as we speak, the 8 is the Cincinnati Bengals at 4-5. The 9 is the Indianapolis Colts at 5-5. And then the 10 is the Buffalo Bills as 5-5. And then the 11 is the Raiders, who've won 2 straight. They're 5-5 as well. Other teams that are 4-5 include the Chargers, Jets, and Broncos. And then the bottom feeders of the AFC, the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. So definitely things are heating up in the AFC playoff race. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, you can make a case ultimately for 14 teams to possibly make the playoffs in the AFC. And if you look at the NFC, you could probably make a case for 10.
10.
And 3 of them are in the same division. Well, 2 of them are in the same division.
And the NFC just sucks.
The NFC's bad. It really is. NFC is not loaded.
NFC playoff picture might get figured out around
Looking
week
over,
14.
looking over the NFC playoff picture just to look at it, right? Obviously, number 1, the 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Their next game though this week is the Chiefs, so that's going to be a Super Bowl rematch. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And probably, maybe potentially future Super Bowl matchup.
Possibly, and then you obviously have the red hot Detroit Lions who are going to dismantle the Bears this week, and then you have the 49ers
All right, you don't have to look at me like that while you say it.
Hey, I gotta give the
I know.
the weekly Bears stray.
I know. We will get destroyed. It's just given.
The current 3 seed is the San Francisco 49ers coming off the big win versus the Jags. And then the 4 seed is actually a 5-5 team, the New Orleans Saints, the only 500 team in that division. And then the Seattle Seahawks are the 5 at 6-3. The 6 are the Dallas Cowboys at 6-3. And then the 7 are the Minnesota Vikings at 6-4. And then there's only really 3 teams left: the Buccaneers at the 8, 4-5, the Commanders, the Commandies, 4-6, and then the Falcons, 4-6 as well. So NFC not that close, but definitely interesting to say the least. Moving along now to a division, we're going to talk about who is going to win the NFC East. And that brings a good question, because the NFC East is a division that, I mean, pretty loaded to say the least. I would say there's 2 really good teams. And, wait, we're talking about the NFC East? Why are we talking about the NFC East? The Eagles are, quite frankly,
West.
in front of that. The West. That makes way more sense. Yeah, the NFC West.
NFC West, yeah.
that-
Typo
excuse
there,
me.
typo
Yeah,
there.
typo there. But NFC West, I was looking at like the Eagles are going to win this division. We talked about that last week. But yeah, we'll probably yeah. Moving along. Talking about the NFC West, who's going to win that division? And really it's 2 teams. It's the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. You obviously have the Cardinals and the Rams, who are at the bottom of this division. The Rams 3-6 started out hot, but kind of in their last 5, they're 1-4, and they signed Carson Wentz. So if that tells you anything how their season is going, Matthew Stafford is healthy and will play this week, but ultimately time will tell. Cardinals not that good. But the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, the 49ers obviously coming off a 3-game losing streak, go out and embarrass the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. So, and the Seattle Seahawks, they lose pretty bad to the Ravens 2 weeks ago, but then they come back and beat the Commanders this week. So the real question is, who's going to win the NFC West?
I like to think it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I like Geno Smith. I love the wide receiver core: DK, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Kenneth Walker's playing very good this year. The O-line's blocking well, and then they probably have one of the most underrated secondaries in the league. I mean, that secondary is loaded with young talent, and then they just got Leonard Williams to boosting up their D-line. I like the Seattle Seahawks. I think they might pull this out.
I'm going to go with the 49ers. If you look at it, the 49ers, they literally do everything better than the Seahawks. Besides Geno Smith, I'd say Geno Smith is better than Brock Purdy, but running back, I'd say McCaffrey's obviously better than Kenneth Walker.
Do you think they have a better wide receiver core?
Yeah. I think
The Seahawks receiver core is
It's a
very
pretty good receiver
it's
core.
good,
It's
but
really good.
I don't know. So you're taking Debo over DK?
no. But
Which-
I
are
would
you-
take
you
Ayuk.
over-
I think Ayuk is better than both Lockett and Smith and Jigba.
I'll give you that.
I mean,
Prime
I-
Tyler
I-
Lockett, though.
Okay, well, prime Lockett.
Prime
Lockett-
Lockett.
But
kinda
Lockett's
taking
like
a-
30, 32.
Tyler Lockett's still very good, by the way.
Yeah,
he
but
is,
he's
he
not
is
with-
very good.
But he's kind of taking a little bit of a dip
And-
in productivity.
And, like, the 49ers, this defense is insane. Like, I'm not like this Seahawks defense is very good too with the secondary, like you said, Quandre Diggs, Tariq Woolen,
Yeah,
Devin
their secondary is
Witherspoon.
very good.
They also have guys up front like Leonard Williams, Boye Mafe, all those players. But the 49ers, this is a team who just got Chase Young. They have Nick Bosa. They have Fred Warner. They have all these. Their secondary stacked. Hufanga, all these other guys. This 49ers defense, I think, is. I wouldn't say a lot better, but they are definitely better than the Seahawks defense.
Well,
and I think their
ultimately-
offense is cooking because the problem was with Brock Purdy was that he
had
wasn't playing well.
He had that concussion. And
He had the
a
concussion.
bye, and now we can actually see straight, and he played really well
Exactly.
versus Jacksonville.
Exactly. So when
Um,
he's seeing straight, he'll ball out. I think the 49ers are still the favorites.
Yeah,
in
but
here.
but this division is going to come down to it. You look at the San Francisco 49ers next 4 games. They play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which to me is not really a challenge. The Buccaneers are a solid team. I think they're the best team in their division. By the way, still standing on that hill. I know a few weeks ago we had a little bet going on who's going to win that division. I remember who you guys picked. Who do you pick, Aiden?
I picked the Saints.
Uh-huh.
I pick the Falcons. I'm still going strong with the Falcons.
Okay,
Go
buddy,
Falcons.
yeah.
Go
Actually, you
Falcons.
know what? Let's give a little update on this real quick.
We will. We'll get there. We're
Okay,
going to talk
okay,
about it
okay,
in a minute. Let's finish this first. But they play the Buccaneers, and then they play the Seahawks twice in 3 weeks. And then in the middle of those 2 Seahawk games, guess what they play? The Philadelphia Eagles. That is going to be rough for the 49ers. And if the Seahawks win one of those 2, I think they win it. But if the Niners win both, I think they win it. The division is going to come down to week 12 and 14 for the San Francisco 49ers. And you go look across the way to the Seattle Seahawks. Who do they play? They play the Rams this week. And the Rams aren't that good. They're not that good this year.
No, they're not.
Then you look and they play the Niners. And then guess who they play in the middle of their 2 Niners games? The Dallas Cowboys, another contender-ish team. So both these teams are going to have a rough hill to climb. And guess after they play the Niners for the second time, guess who they play? Not that they don't play the Niners again. They play the Philadelphia Eagles. So rough for both teams. So this division, I think, is going to come down to a week 18. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see. But, yeah. But, yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at your division, Mr. Aiden here.
Yeah, and
so
frankly, I'm in first right now.
The NFC North. Let's give a little bit of an update on the NFC North. You got the New Orleans Saints.
South.
God, I read the wrong thing. NFC North is the Lions. They can run away with that one. NFC South. You got the New Orleans Saints at 5-5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4-5, and your squad, the Atlanta Falcons, who you swore on everything they were winning.
It's still early.
4-6. The Falcons have won one of their last 5. Same with the Buccaneers. They've won one of their last 5. And the Saints, they've won 2 of their last 5. So this division is a dumpster, to say the least. All these teams aren't that good. I would say if it was my choice, none of them would make the playoffs, but every division someone does. I do think it's still going to be the Buccaneers. And so would you guys like to change your choices? Are you still rocking?
I'm sorry.
Go Falcons.
Okay.
The problem with the Falcons
Let's go
is
Baker.
Arthur Smith hates using his top 10 overall.
Falcons fly.
His top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Bijan,
If
Kyle
you're a top
Pitts,
10 pick
and
on
Drake London never get
Go
any
Falcons.
attention.
Jelano, what's the tight end?
Kyle Pitts.
No,
Jonnu
Jonnu
Smith.
Smith. You rather throw to Jelano Smith than Kyle Pitts.
And the greatest tight end prospect that we've ever seen.
Yeah, dude. Free Kyle
Pitts, free Pitts, free Bijan, free Drake London.
Free Taylor Heineke.
Hey, he's been cooking.
Hey, but I'm still rocking with my Saints pick.
What if Carr misses time?
Okay, well then no.
J-Bo? You don't like J-Bo?
Jameis Winston.
Hey, he'll throw you 4 tuds a game.
And 4
yeah,
interceptions.
but he also threw 4 interceptions that
Yeah,
same
he
game.
has to match. He has to match what he's doing.
He literally came in for like 2 quarters and threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Like,
and
that's
did you see his
insane.
touchdowns? His touchdowns are just like he threw like a cross-field
To
throw.
like a no-name, yeah.
And then,
Hey, it was a
and then
good
2
throw, though.
interceptions. And then
Yeah,
2 of the
then
worst
he-
interceptions you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll look like Patrick Mahomes, and then the interceptions he'll look like Mac Jones. I don't get it.
not Mac Jones. He looks like just anyone who's really bad.
Mac Jones.
His interceptions are just so bad.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. God.
Yeah, but anyway, Saints on top. I'm still rocking with
Who they?
Who Dey.
Who they? All right.
Wait, no, that's the
It's
Bengals.
also the Saints.
It's also the Saints.
I thought the Saints were Who Dat, right?
Who they? It kind of sounds
Whatever.
It's
Same thing.
It's who dat, but
It's
yeah.
Who Dat, yeah.
And who day is the Bengals, but they all kind of sound the same.
They're both the same franchise.
And
anyway.
whenever we went to the Colts Saints game, I went there. Jalen went there too. They were all saying, "Who day?" And I'm like, "That's the Bengals, not the Saints. Who day?"
Yeah, I was at a Bears Saints games, and we got destroyed, and all that's all they would say. And I was like 13, so I couldn't handle it anymore.
All right, but moving along now to the Minnesota Vikings, a team we've kind of talked about a little bit so far, but the Minnesota Vikings are 6-4. They've won winners of 5 consecutive games, and their quarterback is Josh Dobbs, and Josh Dobbs, once again, has been balling. He's been balling on them. The Minnesota Vikings are red hot, and Josh Dobbs on the season, well, at least for the Vikings, has 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, and he's ran in 2 touchdowns as well. And I mean, Josh Dobbs, he looks. I mean, he's not Kirk Cousins, but I mean, he looks solid. He really does. And I mean, if with Josh Dobbs leading this team, I think the Vikings are playoff locks. I don't think they'll win their division, but I think they're a 6 to 7 seed playoff lock in the NFC.
I don't think Josh Dobbs has to go out there and win you games. He just has to go out there and manage the game well. Just don't go out there throwing interceptions. Throw a couple good passes, and that's about it. That's all you really need to do. You don't need to go out there, throw 3-4 touchdowns a game. You just need to go out there, handle your business, and get out, and you'll win a whole bunch of games like that.
Yeah, no turnovers are going to be huge for them. And
they have getting back
Justin
Jefferson's going to help him. T.J. Hawkinson, I would say, who has played as the best tight end in the league this season.
Probably, yeah.
Statistically. So, I mean, the Vikings, their defense is playing a little bit better. I really hope they figure out their rushing game. Besides, I mean, Alexander Madison is not that good.
Cam Akers out for the season.
Cam Akers is out for the season. He didn't do much there anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Alexander Madison hasn't even scored a touchdown this season.
Seriously?
That's insane.
In the air or through ground?
I'll look at the
He
air
probably
right
has a
now.
receiving one. I think he definitely has a receiving.
He has one receiving.
Yeah.
Receiving?
One.
But yeah.
Starting running back, by the way, one touchdown, and it's a receiving touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, with Josh Dobbs, I feel like
Their leader in rushing touchdowns, by the way, is Josh Dobbs.
that's
played two.
insane. That is crazy.
They have 4 rushing touchdowns of the year,
Oh god, yeah. They
And
need to
through
get
with
that
Josh
bigger.
Dobbs?
and 2 are with Josh Dobbs.
About Josh Dobbs, he's coming from a supporting cast of Trey McBride and
Hollywood Brown.
Now
Trey
he's
McBride is my tight end. He's so good.
and now he's
He's on
and
my
now
fantasy
he's now he's going with Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson,
Jordan
the best
Addison.
wide
Jordan
receiver,
Addison.
the best rookie wide receiver in Jordan Addison. I feel like it's gonna
And
be hard.
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne's
He's good. He's underrated. Yeah, it's gonna be hard for Josh Dobbs to be less successful than he was at Arizona, because I feel like all he really needed was a starting role to kind of prove himself and get comfortable as a starter, and I think he'll be fine.
In Arizona, the thing it just feels like they never really gave him the full keys. They never
Yeah.
really gave him, hey, be home whenever. They always gave him a be home at midnight type.
Yeah.
Because they're
Like, give him a
always
curfew.
always in the back of his head. It was always going to be
Murray's coming
Kyler
back.
Murray's coming back. You could be benched, or we're bad. Now he's on a winning team with a good head coach and a very good supporting cast. Obviously, the running back issue is an issue, but I mean, when it comes to receivers and offensive line tight end, they have a very good team. So
Yeah,
I would say the Vikings are playoff locks.
I can say the same.
So now we're going to go to the AFC in one of our last topics of the day and talk about the AFC North, the best division in football. I think that's a very clear front runner. Currently, the top of the AFC North is the Baltimore Ravens at 7-3, and then you look at the second seed, and it's somehow the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-3. The Browns are also 6-3, winners of 4 straight, or winners of 4 of their last 5. And then you have the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-4. Actually, if you look at it, right, in the last 5 games, all 4 of these teams have won 4 of their last 5. All of them. And that's pretty crazy to say. So the real question is, who comes out of the AFC North?
It's still the Ravens.
I think it's got to be the Ravens. I was on the Bengals train for a little bit, but after losing to the Texans at home, it's not a good look. And I know they fought back and were really supposed to win that game late down the stretch, but C.J. Stroud happened. So I think at this point in the season, the Bengals are. I know the Ravens just lost too, but the fact that the Bengals were almost out of the slump, and they were climbing out of where they put themselves in earlier in the season, and they were about to and lost. I feel like that's a big sign for their I don't know, their not mentality, but their stride, I guess. So I think I got to give it to the Ravens.
I just have one question. How do the Steelers keep on winning? This was a team that was just all I heard in the beginning of the season was fire Matt Canada. Matt Canada's the problem.
I still
And
think the
now
Steelers are the worst team in this
I
league.
mean, yeah, me too. But like, how are they 6-3?
It's because their defense is so
The
good.
defense is that good, but
all the offense needs to do is put up 20 points a game, and they will win every game.
maybe even 17 points. A
Maybe
game.
even 17.
And
This defense is locked down.
is locked down. But I'm just like, you see what they have on offense, what they've been doing on offense. You see what they've been doing on offense, and it's just like, wow, this team's really 6-3. That's crazy. So I think that they'll be at the bottom of the division when the season ends.
Yeah.
But I do not. I think Mike Tomlin will continue his streak of not having a losing season.
I mean,
he'll get to 9-8.
looking at their schedule, here's how many points they put up in every game they've won.
Well,
this
but
season.
no, if you look at here, just 1 second, you can do that. But look at points allowed and points for. They've scored 156 points this year. They've allowed 182. That does
Yeah.
not result in a winning record.
Yeah.
Usually you have to score more points than points allowed to win.
That's what I'm saying. Like, here are the scores of the games that they've won this year. In games that they have won, the 6 wins that they have, they put up 26, 23, 17, 24, 20, and 23.
I mean, that defense is unreal.
I mean, they allowed a 30 bomb to C.J. Stroud, but that was kind of an outlier. They haven't really allowed, and they allowed 30 to the Steelers. They lost 30-7 to the the 49ers, I mean. They lost 30-7 to the 49ers, and then they lost 30-6 to the Texans. Every other game, it's been 26-22, 23-18 win, 17-10 win, 24-17 win, 20-10 loss, 20-16 win, and 23-19 win. They're only winning their games, but the games that they win, they only win by like 4 points.
Yeah, that's usually just how it goes.
But it's kind of crazy because, I mean, you look at it, Kenny Pickett's a guy who, in the first 3 quarters, he plays bad. I mean, he's not good. And then in the fourth quarter, he just has that clutch gene.
Yeah.
And Mike Tomlin's mentioned it. And in the fourth quarter, he's throwing like he has like 100 passer rating and have like a 60 the whole game.
I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's never had a losing record in his career, and it shows. I mean, he's probably outside of Andy Reid and maybe Sirianni or maybe a couple other guys I'm forgetting about, I would say he's probably a top 5 coach in the NFL.
I mean, he's been the best coach in the NFL for a while.
I think the Steelers have one of the best, probably the best overall coaching staff in the NFL. And if we're talking game management-wise, the Pittsburgh Steelers are probably the best in the league in game management and clock management. I really do. I think you could throw Kenny Pickett out there, and he could probably win you 9 games. Now, the rest of their schedule is not really hard either. I mean, they have the Browns who just won. They have the Bengals who just won. But then they have the Cardinals, Patriots, and Colts all back-to-back. All should be wins for them. But then they have the Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens to finish it out. So I don't know. They haven't really hit the bulk of their schedule yet. I would say they're going into it right now. I mean, but they're 6-3. This is a team that could potentially get 10 or maybe even 11 wins, maybe. Probably not. They'll have to play really well to get 11 wins. But I don't know. I think they might be able to sneak into the playoffs. I really do. I think they're probably in there right now.
There's definitely a chance.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. And I mean, so everyone take your pick to win this division. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I'm still going to stick with the Cincinnati Bengals. I still think they're the best team in this division. They had the best quarterback in this division. They had the best receiving core in this division. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are just 1 loss back from the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals, even though right now they're the worst record rise in this division.
You know what? I was 100% Bengals on this one when they were on their up. The Ravens just lost, but the Ravens are like, 7-3 now? I'm torn. I'm going to go 50-50. I really can't decide right now because I feel like the Bengals will hit a stride like they usually do, and they'll win like 5 games in a row, and the Ravens are going to win some and lose some here and there. They won't probably have a consistent win streak the rest of the year. So I'll just have to wait and see. I really don't know yet.
I'm definitely picking the Ravens. I think the Ravens are the best team in this division. They don't have the better quarterback, but I think they have the best team playing right now in terms of just continuity and just how good their defense is playing right now. So I'm going to pick the Ravens.
Yeah, so only really time will tell. But our final NFL subject of the day, of the week, you could say, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars fakers?
No, they're not.
And the question is, because if you look at it, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 6-3. They've had some big wins this season, but after just losing 34-3 to the San Francisco 49ers, and we take a step back and really look at this team, Trevor Lawrence has thrown 9 touchdowns only, 6 interceptions, 2,000 yards passing. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are fakers. I've been saying this since day one. They're the same team. They're just not that good. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are that good. I don't. And that could be a little bit of bias to me because they're in my favorite team's division. But I just don't think they're that good. I think Trevor Lawrence is good, but I don't think he's great. I mean, if you look at it statistically, Trevor Lawrence almost has the same stats as Gardner Minshew. And Gardner Minshew, don't get me wrong, one of the best backups in the league, but as a starter, he's not that good.
Justin Fields has more passing touchdowns than Lawrence has. And
he's missed like a month.
He's missed almost a month now, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence needs to play better. It's point blank. I mean, there was a few times in that San Francisco 49ers game, he dropped back and just throw about 25 yards to Fred Warner. It just he's getting carried by Travis Etienne.
I don't know if they're fakers at this point.
I think they're fakers.
I'm not sure yet. Now, they're definitely not a team. Excuse me. They're definitely not a team that will go out and win 13 games this year. But they'll get they'll win probably 10 or 11 and finish as the 1 seed and maybe win a playoff game, maybe 2, probably not 2, but they'll definitely win 1. They're not. I feel like it's so hard to put in the words because they've had so many good wins this year, but they've also had so many bad losses, like the loss to the Niners this past week. It's too early to really tell how they'll be just because they're such an inconsistent team. But I don't know. I feel like they'll be 10 and 11, 10 or 11 wins for them, in my opinion. They'll win a playoff game, and I don't know if that's faker. I don't know if that deserves a faker title because we really never thought that they were gonna be legit Super Bowl contenders anyway. Because this is Jags; they haven't been good in a while. So
I don't think they're exactly frauds. I think they're about as good as we thought they would be.
I thought they'd be a 10-win team.
I think they'll get to 10 wins.
I mean, you look at their schedule; they still have to play the Panthers, the Bucks, and the Titans twice.
Yeah, they'll still get to 10 wins.
Yeah, they do play some pretty bad.
They'll get to 10 wins. They're gonna win the division. Will they win a playoff game? Depends on who they play. But I don't think they're frauds yet. I think we just have to wait and see. If they lose to one of these bad teams coming up, then we might have to put that title on them.
They play the Titans next week. If they lose to the Titans after losing to the 49ers and they fall 6-4, I don't know. It'll definitely start to become a conversation. But for right now, we'll just have to put it off and see if they beat these teams.
Yeah. So moving along to the NBA segment. We're going to get right into it. That 2023 in-season tournament Week 2 recap. Let's get right into it with East Group A. And the favorite and a team that I picked to win East Group A, and I would say a team that is one of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Indiana Pacers in East Group A are 2-0. And last night they knocked off the Philadelphia 76ers in a big win. Tyrese Haliburton, I believe, 35 points, 15 assists, no turnovers. I believe that was his statistics from that one.
It was around there.
Obi Toppin had a big 27-point game as well for the Indiana Pacers. And in East Group A, I mean, the favorite right now, it has to be the Indiana Pacers. I think the Pacers are up there to be the favorite to win this whole entire in-season tournament as a whole. Because the Pacers, they look good. And they're already going to lock up East Group A with a victory over either Atlanta or Detroit. They will be one of the two teams, if they win their next two, to make it. And already, it's like they have like a 98% chance to make it already.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting off 2-0 and knocking off the Cavs and the 76ers, two teams that everyone thought would be victors in this in-season tournament. So, ultimately, we'll see. Other teams in this East Group A are the Hawks at 1-0. The 76ers now 1-1. The Cavs have yet to play their second game. They'll do that, I believe, Thursday. They're 0-1, and the Pistons are 0-2. If they lose to Cleveland, they are officially eliminated from advancing in the tournament. But now, moving on to East Group B, and I would say the favorite right now in this one is the Miami Heat. They're 2-0 in this one. Obviously, they're 2 wins against two teams that aren't that good, in the Wizards and the Hornets, but they're 2-0. The Bucks are 1-0 in this one. I believe Thursday they play the Hornets. Hornets are 1-1. If they lose to Milwaukee, they'll probably be eliminated. And then the Wizards are 0-2, and the Knicks are 0-1. So in this one, I mean, who is your guys' favorites in East Group B? As it stands.
For East Group B?
Yeah.
It's a really tough division. So I really don't know.
I feel like
Has to be the Miami Heat.
I feel like it has to be the Heat. They're 2-0. It's going to be really hard for them to
I
mess
think
it
the
up.
Heat. It's the Heat and the Bucks to win it in this one. It has to be.
I think it's just between those two teams.
It has to be. I mean,
so who have the Heat beaten?
The Heat have beaten the Wizards and the Hornets, which are two of the worst teams in the league.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, the Hornets, they're Showtime.
But the Knicks are also in here, though.
Yeah, but I don't think the Knicks are that good, man.
They're like
Julius
3-5.
Randle has not been
Julius
playing
Randle was
good.
buns. I can't
He
lie.
has been throwing up. He is building houses. He is doing that community a service over there in New York right now, building brick houses as much as he could. But, I mean, it has to go to even though the Heat have two, I mean, you could say, what would you call these two victories versus the Washington and Charlotte? I mean, that's just
Flukes.
Warm-up games.
warm-up game
The Heat are not.
practices.
The Heat are not a
And the Heat-
good
The
basketball
Heat
team.
aren't that good either.
The Heat
are not that good either.
should beat those teams, but they also should lose to the Bucks and the Knicks. They're
And
the middle team out of the 5 teams.
the
I'd
Knicks
say
are
they're
not
the
that
third.
good this year.
They're not, but
This
Out of the 5
East Group B
teams-
is pretty bad. I think the only really good team in this one is
It's
the
the
Bucks.
Bucks.
I feel like in East Group B, you look at these 5 teams. I think the Heat are exactly the number 3. I think they're right in the middle.
Yeah. All right, moving along to East Group C, and every team
You
here.
already know who's going to win this one.
Yeah, the Boston Celtics are 1-0 in this one. They do play Toronto on Thursday. The Brooklyn Nets are 2-1 in this one. So as it looks right now, the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics will be the 2 teams advancing in East Group C. The Bulls are 0-1, the Magic are 0-1, and the Raptors actually have yet to play a game. They will play Thursday, but so who's your guys' favorites in this one? I'm gonna say it's gonna be Celtics and Nets as it stands.
It's the Celtics. And for the second team, I'm picking the Magic. I
Magic.
think
If they did lose one game to Brooklyn, it
they
was a
did.
close game,
Yeah, but
but they still have 3 games to play in this tournament.
the Magic are just one of those teams where it's just like the youth and the good play of some of these players. Like Cole Anthony's playing well, Paolo's playing well, Franz Wagner's playing well, even Wendell Carter's playing well. So I think that the Magic should be the second best team in this division.
For me, obviously, everyone should have the Celtics. I think it's the Celtics and the Nets. I feel like the Nets are going to finish 3-1. They still have to play Toronto, and Toronto's not that good of a team. So if they're 2-1 without even playing the worst team in this division yet,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty telling that the Brooklyn Nets should finish 3-1, and the Boston Celtics could probably get one defeated.
All right, moving along to the Western Conference West Group A, and right now as it stands, there's really only two teams that are undefeated and 2 teams I think are going to get it. The Los Angeles Lakers are 2-0. They have a 30-point differential. They beat the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies in this one. The Utah Jazz are 2-0 as well, which was a surprising one. The Jazz being 2-0. The Portland Trailblazers are 1-1. The Phoenix Suns are 0-1. They do play Utah Thursday. And then the Memphis Grizzlies are officially eliminated out of this tournament, being 0-3. So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to take the Lakers and the Suns still, even though the Jazz are 2-0. The Jazz in their next game, they do take on the Suns. If they beat the Suns, they go ahead and they advance. The Lakers obviously take on Portland. If they do that, they will advance as well with 3 wins. So time will tell them, but I'm going to take the Lakers and Blazers to continue. Not the Blazers. Lakers and Suns to win West Group A as it stands.
As of right now, I'll probably go with the Jazz and the Suns.
Whoa, the Jazz?
The Jazz? You're going to say the Lakers are going to – they're 2-0.
Yeah.
They have a 30-point differential. It'd be very hard for them not to make it.
It's gonna be Suns and Lakers.
I don't know. I'll be different.
Or Jazz. The Jazz are 2-0. If the Jazz get one more victory, they advance.
Yeah.
But they take on Phoenix and LA.
But it's the 2 hardest other teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Suns if the Suns get Book back and they complete their 3-headed goat with KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, it's over for this group. They're by far. And I'm not a big fan of the Lakers. I don't really like them that much. I don't think they're as good as a team that we thought they were going to be. And the Utah Jazz is hot right now, even in the regular season play. So I'll take the Jazz, and I'll take the Suns. I feel like the Lakers are going to lose to Portland. And I think Utah can upset them. I don't know. We'll see. The Lakers can
Okay,
lose to
bud.
anyone at this point.
We'll see.
I don't know about losing to Portland, but ultimately we'll see. Anthony Davis has been playing very well lately, to say the least. Moving along to West Group B, and there's only one team undefeated in this one. The Denver Nuggets are 2-0. If they win versus the Pelicans next week, they will win West Group B. The Houston Rockets are 1-0. They play the Clippers Thursday. The Pelicans are 1-1. The Mavericks are 1-2, and the Los LA Clippers, a team we'll get to in a little bit, are 0-2. So my picks for this one are going to be the Denver Nuggets, and I do think the New Orleans Pelicans actually pull it out. That's going to be my West Group B.
I'm picking Nuggets and Mavs. I think the Mavs are they're playing really well this season. They're top 3 seed right now. And obviously, the Nuggets are not Super Bowl champions. Wrong sport. They are the winners of last year's finals. So I'm just going to pick the Nuggets and Mavs. I think Luka is playing out of his mind right now, and so is Jokic.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be the Nuggets, obviously. And I think the Rockets. I think the Rockets will do it. They're hot as of late. They've won like 6 straight or something like that. And I feel like the Pelicans and obviously the Clippers aren't winning. They're already 0-2. And who knows what's going on over in LA with James Harden?
We're going to talk about that in a minute. So
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be the Nuggets and the Rockets. I feel like that's really the only one that makes sense.
All right, now moving along to the final group of the day in the in-season tournament, West Group C. And we're going to talk about a team we're going to talk about just right after this. The Minnesota Timberwolves lead this one. They're 2-0. And then the Sacramento Kings are 1-0. The Warriors are 1-1. The Thunder 1-2. And the Spurs are 0-2. And I'm going to take the 2 top teams. I think the teams to win these 2 we're going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings. Stephen Curry is currently hurt for the Warriors. So time will tell on that one.
And Draymond Green is facing some stuff.
Possibly a suspension. So time will tell. But the Minnesota Vikings are red hot. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I think, is top 4, top 3 in MVP. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Kings, they're still a really good team. They've only played 1 game. They play the Spurs, who are 0-2. So that'll be an interesting one this Thursday. But West Group C, I'm going to take the T-Wolves and the Kings.
I think it's got to be the T-Wolves and the Kings as well. The Warriors, like you said, Steph's hurt. Draymond Green might face a suspension. That'll throw off the whole locker room. The Thunder are 1-2. I don't really think they really have any hopes of winning in case something goes extremely wrong for the other 3 teams. And the Spurs, they might as well even finish this division 0-4. They still play the Kings and the Warriors. This is a tough group in general. I feel like the really 2 logical ones to take here are the Timberwolves and Kings at this point.
And for me, I'm picking the Timberwolves and the Thunder. I think that the Thunder can make a run because they have a really good team, and Shea is a top 10 player in the NBA right now. And obviously the Timberwolves are on a roll right now, so I'm gonna pick the Thunder and the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. West Group C is one of the best.
Yeah.
In the in-season tournament. But moving along now to our official topics of the NBA season so far. It's week 3 of the NBA season, and just last night something happened, a little altercation. We had 2 altercations, but we're going to talk about one. And the Warriors taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Warriors without Stephen Curry, who's having a little bit of a knee issue. And the Warriors started the game. I think the score was 0-0.
1-0. It was 1-0.
1-0. And Klay Thompson got into it a little bit with Jaden McDaniels. And they push. Klay gets his jersey ripped off, and then Rudy Gobert comes up and kind of puts Klay Thompson in a little bit of a chokehold. So then Draymond Green runs up to Rudy Gobert and grabs him like a WWE move by his arm and starts choking him out and dragging him. Dragging 7'1" Rudy Gobert. By the way, Draymond Green is 6'7", and making Rudy Gobert look like a little baby. Getting dragged by Draymond Green. Draymond Green gets his 19th, what's it called? Ejection, which is second all time, all behind Rasheed Wallace, who leads it with 29. So what should the NBA do about Draymond Green? Ultimately,
suspend him.
Ultimately, I don't think they should do anything.
At least a suspension.
He'll get a suspension.
At least.
It's the classic Draymond suspension.
I think it's about. I think this deserves a smooth 10.
Draymond Green, when Curry's on the floor, not on the floor, he just doesn't want to play. it's that simple.
I think a smooth 10-game suspension, no pay.
You could stretch 20.
I'd say 1.
One is
You could make a case that was attempted murder.
I mean,
oh my,
he was choking him out.
Plus, Rudy Gobert didn't even do much. He was kind of like if anything, Gobert was trying to break it up.
Yeah,
and he just comes out of nowhere.
I think Draymond was planning for that for forever. Well, he wanted to get at Rudy Gobert for something. I don't exactly know what Rudy Gobert did to Draymond Green in the past. It was probably something.
Draymond saw his chance.
And took it. and he started choking the man
And
out.
hey, Draymond Green does not like Rudy Gobert. They've had drama. They've had beef for a good while. So 10 games, I don't know.
I think 10 games.
I could definitely see him getting a few games, to say the least.
I think 10, no pay. Make him rethink his choices.
Definitely a fine.
Definitely a smooth fine, a great fine. I don't know how much money we're talking, but it's going to be a fine and suspensions for sure.
He's going to get fined. There's some
Oh,
money's
yeah, he's
going to be
gonna
coming
get
out of his bank account. And also, Klay Thompson getting his jersey. We don't really see Klay Thompson ever getting fights.
No, he just talks a lot.
He does talk.
I'll just say this right now. I hate Klay Thompson. I think he is one of the most crybaby players in the league.
I do think he's a little bit of a baby.
I like the whole thing last year about Sacramento when Draymond stomped on Sabonis's ribs and Klay was defending Draymond like, bro, you can't just like stop him whenever he's running full speed. Like, bro, Klay, shut up. You're terrible. You've always been second to Steph. I hate you. I hate Klay. I hate Klay Thompson. I hate Klay Thompson.
All right, moving along to who he hates. The real question is, are the Minnesota Timberwolves the hottest team in the NBA? Go ahead and follow us, Roll the Tape Pods on TikTok. I went ahead and did a video a few days ago on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I would have said, yeah, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 8-2 right now, I think they are the hottest team in the NBA. They're playing phenomenal. Obviously, last night, did Rudy Gobert end up getting kicked out of that game?
No.
He continued.
But
on.
it wasn't a double.
It was Jaden McDaniels that got kicked out.
Yeah, it was McDaniels.
Yeah, that was worthy. He was kind of grabbing Clay's jersey.
Yeah, he did rip Clay's jerseys.
He did.
Did Klay get kicked out of that one?
Yeah.
Damn.
Clay Draymond got kicked out, and then Jaden McDaniels on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, but the T-Wolves, I think they're really good. The Timberwolves are really good. I didn't think they'd be this good. They're led by Mike Conley at point guard, who is playing. He's one of the most efficient point guards in the league.
The most careful. He's like, I think he leads the league in point guards in turnovers. Not like turnovers,
Like
but
having
less
the least,
turnovers. Yeah.
Haliburton's right there, averaging 12 and a half
Yeah.
assists, by the way, which is insane.
Yeah.
But Mike Conley, he's been one of the most efficient. Anthony Edwards is averaging 29 a game. I would say, we're going to talk about it just after this, but I would say he's up there in MVP, top 3 or 4 in MVP right now in the league. The T-Wolves are one of the best in the league. I mean, Rudy Gobert back to being really the best shot blocker in the league, and he's dominating. Karl Anthony Towns is giving you 20 and 10 every night. And Towns, I think, versus the Warriors had 30. So, and Jaden McDaniels, a guy who's a phenomenal defender as well. So this T-Wolves team, they're loaded. They honestly are loaded, and they're on fire. They're easily the hottest team in the league. Easily.
I think it's between them and the Rockets. The Rockets are also one of those teams. I mean, they've won 6 straight. They only won one less game.
And we've done a
the
video on the
Timberwolves.
Rockets too. Follow us on TikTok, Roll the Tape Pods. Get the shout out.
I mean, it's between the Rockets and the Timberwolves. Rockets have won 6 straight. Timberwolves won 7. I think the Timberwolves are a little hotter right now because that 7-game win streak. But the Rockets are right there. But the Timberwolves are playing out of their mind right now. Anthony Edwards is playing at an MVP level. When you have Draymond Green talking to you like that, and then you show up and score 8 to 10 points straight to close the game out, that's some killer mentality stuff. That's some Mamba mentality, Jordan killer instinct. I mean, Anthony Edwards is just playing at a great level right now. If Karl Anthony Towns can really continue to perform like he did last night against the Warriors, this team can go far.
Yeah, I really do think so. And the funny thing is, no one really expected the T-Wolves to be this good.
No.
Like, I expected the T-Wolves to be okay, but I didn't think the combo of Gobert and Towns would work at all. And this year, it has been.
Yeah. And, I mean, Rudy Gobert has finally gotten his flair back. I mean, we're starting to see flashes of Utah Jazz Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Pair that with Cat. They're starting to figure this 2-center scheme out a little bit. And then you have Anthony Edwards back there in the backcourt who's dropping almost 30 a game. You have Mike Conley, who has the least amount of turnovers per game, I think, among point guards. Jaden McDaniels, a defensive force. They have good bench players. Naz Reid.
Naz Reid.
We got to mention Naz Reid.
Naz Reid is legitimate 6th man of the year.
I mean, as of right now, how the team's looking right now, I know they've only played 10 games and it's an 82-game season, but right now they're definitely looking like a top 5 seed in the West lock for sure.
It has to be. It does. And I mean, they've played to a almost phenomenal level. But moving along now, we have 2 players in mind who are kind of people that you wouldn't say are MVPs going into the season, but how they've played in the probably last 6 to 8 games. Tyrese Haliburton and Anthony Edwards for MVP. Is that a legitimate conversation we can have? And
It
I think
is.
it's yes.
I think they're both in the conversation, especially if their teams continue. I don't know about the T-Wolves being top 4 in the West. Top 5, maybe.
I said top 5.
I say top 5. I think they can be a 5 to 4 seed. But I think the Pacers could easily be a 3 seed in the East.
With how bad the East is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially with how bad the East is this year. I mean, outside of the Bucks and Celtics, the rest is just open to whoever. Like, I mean, the Sixers are 8-2 right now, but do you see them continuing to be at that level the whole season?
I don't know, because Tyrese Maxey has been playing at an unreal level.
That'll slow down.
And
it will.
it definitely will slow down. And I think Joel Embiid, a big part
The
of his
foul baiter
game
himself.
is a big part of Embiid's game is flopping, and I feel like the refs are going to start to catch on about that, and they're going to tighten up and on those calls and not call as many, because they're calling a lot of fouls on
Embiid
Embiid.
is the worst superstar to watch in the NBA.
He's
last
terrible.
night he shot a half-court shot versus the Pacers, and he shot it, and he did a little front flip.
Yeah.
7-footer,
caught a
300-pounder.
No, they didn't call foul, but he was looking for a foul. Is what I meant to say.
God, dude, he's a little baby.
Just a little through 10 games, this is what the MVP ladder is looking like in the NBA. Number 1, we have Jokic, obviously, back-to-back a couple years ago. He's at the top of the list. Number 2, we have the flop man himself from Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. 3, we have Luka, who personally I think should win it this year as of right now. 4, we have Tatum from Boston. 5, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC. And then 6 is Curry. 7 is Edwards, who's one of our dark horses. 8 is Mitchell. 9 is Tyrese, another one of our dark horses. And then 10 is Giannis. So they actually have, as of right now, they have both Edwards and Haliburton over Giannis. And I know Giannis hasn't played great at all these first 10 games, but it's Giannis.
Anthony Edwards is on the 8-2 T-Wolves team. He's averaging 29, 6, and 5 on good shooting splits. And Tyrese Haliburton right now, I believe, is averaging 25, 12, and
5. I think 5 or 6.
4 rebounds. He's averaging, I think, 1.5 steals, and he's shooting 90, 40, and 90. So, not 90. 50, 40, 90. 96, by the way, on free throw percentage. Yeah, and just two of those teams are two teams that, I mean, I expected the Pacers to be really good this season. I didn't think the T-Wolves would be this good. But no one was saying Haliburton and Edwards for MVP going into the year. And those are two guys who I think if their teams continue to climb that mountain, are definitely going to be names to be in the MVP convo.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I know Haliburton. I definitely was aware that Haliburton was going to take this jump, second year in the offense, and everyone plays better the third year. It is his third year, right?
With the Pacers?
No,
Or in the NBA. This
in the
is
NBA.
Fourth.
Okay.
Fourth, yeah.
Everyone takes their jumps their third and fourth year of the career after the so-and-so called sophomore slump. And Tyrese has done that perfectly, but I didn't know he's going to be playing at this level. I mean, I saw something on Instagram today. Over the last 2 games, he's had like 32 assists and no turnovers, which is insane.
Yeah.
Do I think he's up there with Shai, Tatum, Luka yet? Probably not. I feel like Shai, Steph, probably Anthony Edwards, probably Donovan Mitchell are better than him as of right now.
Donovan Mitchell over Haliburton?
Yeah.
I mean, as a player, like a scorer, yeah, but I mean, Haliburton is, people forget Haliburton is averaging 25, and then he's dishing out. He leads the league in assists by like 2.5. He's averaging 12 assists on the season. 12. Yeah. He's putting up Stockton number of assists, and Stockton averaged like 12 points a game. He's putting up 25, and he's leading a Pacers team that without him probably wouldn't be here.
Well, yeah, obviously. So, that's why he's ranked so high. But I don't know. I just don't think, as of right now, the point guard, Tyrese Haliburton, is not on any. I don't think he's on yet the same tier as the top 5 players. Shai, Tatum, Luka, Joel, and Jokic. I don't think he's there yet. Midway through the season, if he's still continuing these 25 and 12, 5 rebound, shooting, 40% from 3 by midseason, absolutely he deserves to be in the top 5. But as of right now, it's only the first 10 games. Longevity is a huge part of an NBA season. That's why it's 82 games. And as of right now, he needs to prove to me that he can keep that up throughout the whole season because it's only the first 10 games
That's
and
fair.
he's fresh.
And then
So I don't know.
That's fair for everyone. Everyone who's playing really well.
Yeah, I
this
know,
season.
but these top 5 players that I'm talking about, Shea, Luka, blah 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 blah, they've all proved it their last couple of years. They've all. I mean, Shea averaged
had
30.
one good season that he was a top.
Okay, but it's the
guard.
season that the OKC gave him the keys, and he proved that he can be a
but
franchise player.
Yeah, Shea is very, very good, but I don't think he is miles in front of Haliburton.
I don't think he's Miles, but he's on a different tier
He's
than
a couple
Haliburton.
feet in front of him.
I think by the end of the season, Haliburton will be over Shea. I do.
There's a debate.
I think Shea.
If the Pacers are a top 4 to 3 seed, I think
Haliburton
Shea will be better.
For Shea to average 7 boards a game as a point guard is very impressive. Along with 3 steals and a block a game is very impressive. Can Tyrese do that? Absolutely. He just has to. That's all I'm saying is he has to prove me over a long period of time if he can sustain those stats with fatigue and everything, stamina. If he's got to prove it to me. All he needs is time, and yeah, he'll be up there with me for me.
Well, we're going to move along to the ending segment, the final segment of the show, to the NFL games of the week. And then we'll finally get into our final segment, the signature starts and sits of NFL Week 11. Moving into games of the week, and we're going to go right into it. The Bengals taking on the Ravens, a AFC, what division is this?
North.
An AFC North battle. I don't know how I didn't remember that. We
I don't know
had a
either.
segment on that. Man.
Bro's losing his marbles over here.
But the Bengals 5-4, the Ravens 7-3. I think this is a really big one for the Bengals. They're playing at the Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to take the Bengals to win this one. 5-4. If they get a win here, that's going to be huge for them going forward to possibly winning the division. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm taking the Ravens.
I'll take the Ravens. This is such a good matchup because this is basically our whole debate around. I mean, we've been having
next week we'll talk about this game.
Oh, for sure.
And ultimately what will happen. If the Ravens win it, they're probably going to win the division.
And
They will win the division.
over the course of this podcast, a huge part of our agenda has been Ravens or Bengals, and this is definitely going to be a big matchup.
And then next is the 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to take on the reigning defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, at a 7-2 record. And I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. It's a home game. They're coming off a bye. And you know who's the most dangerous guy in the league coming off a bye? Andy Reid. Andy Reid is going to cook up something special for this Super Bowl rematch. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'll take the Chiefs as well. The Chiefs, after a bye week, are the most dangerous team in sports history, so I'll roll with Kansas City.
I'm taking the Eagles. I think the Eagles just have one of the best rosters in the league, and Jalen Hurts is playing at an MVP level. But I will say this. The Chiefs will win if Taylor Swift is in attendance. If Taylor Swift is in attendance, the Chiefs will win because Travis Kelce.
Actually, she won't be there. I think she has a show.
Oh, she's a show? Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. Hey, but if she was,
But if she was there,
if she dropped her show, not it dropped her show, but if
Man,
in
just
the middle of a
imagine.
tour, if in the middle of a tour,
Imagine
if she
just
goes
said,
to,
nah, it's it. Tour's over. We're going to the.
we're going to the Chiefs game.
if in the middle of her tour she goes to a Chiefs game, Travis Kelce is dropping 300 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
He
but
does
if
play
she's
really-
not there, I'm taking the Eagles.
He does play better for some reason when she's there. Moving along now, the New York Jets at 4-5 taking on the 5-5 Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to get back on track and beat Zach Wilson to improve in 6-5.
Jets.
Jets.
Give me Zach Wilson in the green and white over the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo
Aaron
Bills
Rodgers
have been
coming back soon.
Buffalo Bills have been awful, as we just talked about earlier, losing that
Jets
game to the
have been too.
Broncos. The Jets have been terrible too, but hey, it can only go up from here for New York. So give me the Jets.
I'm taking the Bills. I think Josh Allen has a bounce back game. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, obviously, because it's Zach Wilson and the Jets. But I think Josh Allen has a solid game. He probably throw an interception. But
he will.
Oh, he will.
Take the over on the interception.
Oh, he will.
That's
He'll
free.
throw an interception. Sauce Gardner might get one. But I do think the Bills will pull it out.
All right, finally, our final game of the week. Steelers taking on the Browns. Both teams 6-3. This will be in the dog pound. I'm going to go ahead and take the Steelers. P.J. Walker will be the starter. No, not the Steelers. The Browns. I'm going to take the Browns in this one. P.J. Walker will be the starter with Deshaun Watson out for the year. But I really like the Browns. The Browns' defense is phenomenal. It's lights out. And the Steelers' offense is not good. So I'm going to take the Browns.
For this matchup, I'm going to go with the Steelers. The Steelers are 6-3, and one of the big points about them is their defense. This defense will dismantle P.J. Walker. They already beat him earlier in the season. They know what it takes. I know that game was at home, but I don't know. I'd like to take the Steelers. The Browns' defense is good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the Steelers are just such on a hot streak right now, it's hard to stop them.
For me, I'm taking the Browns. I think that P.J. Walker,
He's not bad.
he's played better than Deshaun Watson this season, arguably.
Arguably, yeah.
And this defense is just stifling. I know Mike Tomlin is going to have these boys playing good over there in Pittsburgh, but I think the Browns pull this one out.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Deshaun Watson out for the season, but he also played the Ravens-Browns game for 2.5 quarters with a fractured shoulder.
Victory, by the way.
And he let it come back with a fractured shoulder to beat the Ravens, who
crazy.
we had as a Super Bowl favorite, potentially.
And now let's get into it. Starts and sit of NFL Week 11. My start is going to be Tank Dell. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals secondary, not that good. The Cardinals 2-8 on the season. They're kind of just not really. They're not. Kyler Murray's back, but they're still 2-8. So I'm going to say start Tank Dell. The Texans are hot, and that seems to be C.J. Stroud's number one guy.
And he has an MVP throwing him the ball, so.
Hey, impossible MVP. And then my bench is going to be Deontay Foreman for the Bears. They play the Lions. I think the Lions are going to get out front early. The Lions actually have a top 10 rush defense on the season. So Foreman's not going to get the ball too much in the second half. I think the Bears are going to be from behind, forcing them to throw. So I'm going to say bench Deontay Foreman.
For my start, I'm going to have Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Washington. He plays the Lions. No, he does not. He plays the Giants. I'm sorry. I was looking at a different thing. He plays the Giants, and they have Deontay Banks. Deontay Banks is their only good piece of their secondary, really, besides maybe Xavier McKinney. And Deontay Banks will be on McLaurin, which will let Dotson free. And the Giants are just on a general downfall as a team in general. My sit will be Justin Fields. He's coming off of that right thumb injury.
Bench your boy.
Yeah, he's coming off of the right thumb injury. Don't know how he's going to look. He plays Detroit, who is 7-2 right now. They're rolling as of late, and they've gained chemistry on defense, like Jackson just said. So I'll say sit Justin Fields.
And for my starts and sits of the week, I'm going to start the Commanders running backs. They play the Giants, who give up some of the most points to running backs. And Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson have been playing.
Brian Robinson went crazy last
I know
week.
they've been playing great football lately. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start those guys against the Giants. And then I'm sitting Najee Harris.
He just sit every week.
At this point, Jalen Warren's taking most of his snaps. And then he's on top of that, he's playing the Browns. So that's just a double reason as to why to sit Najee Harris.
All right, so that's the starts and sits of NFL Week 11, and that's going to wrap it up for Episode 7 of the Roll the Tape podcast. Of course, follow us on all social medias, Roll the Tape Pods. Follow us on TikTok. We've been posting TikTok-related. We've been posting TikToks that are related to the podcast and just TikToks that are just sports-related. Trying to really grow this thing, so make sure to go give us a follow. I got some really good content coming out over there. But obviously, until next time, it's been fun. Episode 8 coming out next Thursday. Be ready for it. It's going to be a good one. But that's going to be all for this one. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.
Yes, sir.
See ya.